In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I have a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Mohammad Reza Nabizadeh, or in short, Nabi, for here the conversation in the podcast today. He's a demand generation manager at Railz. And Railz is on a very interesting mission. They're building out the largest financial data network to support the future of finance, right? It's a big concept. Today, we want to really deep dive into what that actually means, who is benefiting from that, and how the team at Railz is growing and how Nabi is thinking about growth for the company. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me here, Lucas.
Of course. Yeah, so maybe, give us a 360 overview first. Like, what is Railz all about in your own words?
Yeah, so basically, as you mentioned, Railz is building the largest financial data network to support the future of finance. What that means is we are offering a single API that connects to major accounting and financial service providers like QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Oracle, NetSuite, Microsoft Dynamics. These are all the accounting service providers in the market. So we are the only service, we are the only data as a service solution that we connect and also get the data on SMB businesses. And we normalize it and we provide insights and analytics over that. So imagine you're a bank, or let's say you're a fintech that you need to access normalized data of your small and medium-sized businesses. So instead of integrating your platform with multiple APIs and multiple data sources, you'll be able to use one single API, which not only gives you access to the data, but also normalizes and gives you insights and calculates over 20 accounting ratios. So basically, this is our approach and how we are aiming to help financial institutions and fintechs to give them the ability to make decisions faster and more efficiently to their commercial and small business customers.
Very cool. So it seems there's like kind of like two use cases: the financial institutions and the fintechs. If I'm not wrong, maybe tell us a little bit more the two types of organizations. What scale do they have to be? What is a good point in time to get Railz into the organization? Maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
So basically, as I mentioned, most of our customers and the market that they are using our API are kind of divided in two major segments. The first segment is financial institutions, let's call them FIs. And then the second segment is going to be fintechs. So any use case in FIs related to lending, portfolio management, banking, insurance, wealth management, and trade finance are the use cases that they will need access to real-time accounting or financial data of the small and medium-sized businesses. So imagine you want to, you're a lending company, or you're in, let's say, an underwriting company, or you're in credit office. So you want to automate your lending process with accurate data. So having access to this accurate data means having access to real-time data, the data that has been reported on businesses on a day-to-day basis. So that's the point where using an API like us will kind of emerge. Or let's say you're a portfolio management firm and you want to monitor your customers' financials and offer them insights and services. So before offering them insights, you need to have inputs, and those inputs are real-time and normalized data of their accounting. So basically about it's pretty same with the insurance as well. So all the insurance firms during the underwriting process, they are looking to reduce the risks. They are looking to make less risky decisions by having access to more accurate data of their customers. So again, using such API will also emerge. And basically in wealth management, so imagine you're a VC and you're dealing with many startups, and you're always you wanted to run your own models to do your valuation. So let's say, and the startup is asking for a fund and you want to evaluate their business. One of the greatest and most accurate way to evaluate the business is evaluating their accounting. It's evaluating their financial data. So we have M&T Bank in US building a similar service that they are using for valuation of the businesses, the small and medium-sized businesses. So here the use case is mostly about the FIs. But about the fintechs, we are kind of focused in helping them to build whatever service that they want to build on top of the SMB data. So imagine you're a neobank for businesses, or you're an alternative lender, or a financial forecasting or like financial analysis fintech. So in order to gain the data, in order to get access to it, and in order to have it normalized and also ready to consume, you need to have an access to kind of consistent and coherent sort of the data. So again, using an API like us will be also emerged. So we have a client that they are using our API for offering a credit card that gives discount on top of, let's say, ads spending. So here are the use cases. I know it was pretty in detail, but I wanted to focus more on like to picturing how fintechs and FIs could use our API.
That makes sense. Within the two profiles, like what are typically the people that are actually reaching out to Railz? Is that actually sort of the developer side, the CTOs? Does it come more from sort of a business operation angle, from an ops angle? Like who is actually getting in touch with Railz?
Yeah, basically, so from the FI side, we are kind of being reached out mostly through the risk assessment, data analysis, and also the product teams. So imagine we are being reached out by credit departments of the banks, or let's say loan department of the banks. But once we are going down in terms of the size of our customers, the roles are getting a little bit more technical. So by mid-sized businesses that they are using our service, we mostly are kind of in contact with their product teams, because they need to know how our API is able to help them to design their product roadmap. And also, once we go in one layer kind of deeper, we'll have those let's say newly emerged startups that they are looking to launch their service. So on that level, we're dealing with the CTOs, with the engineers, with anyone who's going to be benefited by saving their time of using our API instead of the other, integrating the other APIs.
Yeah, so I'm very interested now, because you have this very different use cases, very different types of personas. Now, as a demand generation manager, how do you think about the channel or the journeys? Like what acquisition channels do you guys leverage sort of to kind of attract both sides of the equation?
That's a great question. Honestly, it's all about understanding the let's say proper channel to market this service in. So once we are talking about fintechs, they are tech savvy. They are aware of their pain points, and they know what are they looking for. So they most of the time use search engines. So focusing on SEO strategies, and at the same time focusing on paid channels like SEM ads. Basically, this is the channel that brings most of the fintechs to our API. But once we're talking about financial institutions, we are talking about a group of decision makers, maybe 20 influencers in a process of a decision making. So that's where we are kind of focused on social media marketing through LinkedIn, and also event marketing. So it's our target to be present on top events in North America. So it means that we are going to focus on our brand awareness in front of those giant financial institutions. And I would say it's just about knowing them and analyzing where do they live, where do they spend most of their time, and then identifying the channels, of course. So I would say most of our paid efforts goes to LinkedIn once we want to target FIs, and most of our effort goes to search engine paid ads once we want to target for fintechs. And of course, the type of the journey is different. So once you're running social media ads, you need to focus on, let's say, brand awareness and also talking about the pain points first, and then moving them a little bit down to the funnel and talking about how this API is addressing the, let's say, how it's answering the questions around those pain points. So the funnels are different and the messaging are absolutely different because the channels are different.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm curious about is what role does the website then play? Like, how do you think about the website in the journey? What role does it play for Railz?
So basically, our website is the most important marketing asset that we have. So it means that we are caring about the user journey on our website. We are caring about how we convey a message, how we communicate with the users, and also what is the user journey flow on our website. So we are using analytics tools like Mixpanel, and through this tool and also the other analytics tools that we are using, we sort of analyzing like in detail of the behavior of the users. So like based on my current understanding and the data that I have to prove this argument, most of the users on our website, they open our website, they immediately go for the use cases, then they go for the product pieces that they need to build at the use case, and then they go to the pricing page or contact us page. So this flow is the most valuable flow, I think, for any startup or any business. Any marketer need to understand this flow. For many of the businesses, people are opening the website and then they go for the pricing because they know what this service is, what does, like they know what are their like point of differentiations and point of propositions. They're just like curious about the pricing and they're ready to make their purchase. But for our service, users are mostly curious to see, okay, what they can build, what would be the possible use cases of such this API. And then once we hinting them with our use cases, then we see, okay, there are a bunch of new use cases based on our API that they just created their own service based on this API. So we are playing in a more of an infrastructure role. And that's how our website is important for us. And we are kind of regularly checking all the flows and all the user behavior attraction engagements on our website.
And would it be fair to say that the call to actions, you got the get API keys, and on the other side you have the contact sales. They're also kind of mapping to these two personas, like where startup is going to pick up the key versus
exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So they know what they want. They know that they want an API and they want to get the keys right off the bat and start building and trying out this API. So we shouldn't just like driving them to the sales calls or anything like that. We should give them a chance to try it and then try to nurture them, talk about the use cases with them. So that's the main strategy over here.
It's very interesting because a lot of marketers we have on the show, they have different personas, but they're not as clear in the call to action to be so clearly different and so clearly separated for one or the other use cases. I think it's one of the most clear examples we've had on the show in regards to that in a while. So very cool. I have some rapid fire questions to wrap it up because we already progressed deep into the interview. We learned about Railz. We learned about what you guys are doing and who you're serving. Now I have some rapid fire questions to learn about you and your journey. You ready for those?
Sure. Yeah, basically. Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. So the first question is, what is the last book you read or the last podcast you listened to?
Oh, okay. So there are 3 podcasts that are my favorite. First one is 11FS. So it's a pretty well-known podcast in fintech. The other one is Fintech Insights. It's supported by one of the podcast producers in Canada, Jason. I know his name, and he's really great in like talking about fintech trends. And there's another podcast that's kind of my personal kind of interest. It's called Nerdy About the Nature, because I'm kind of inspired by the nature, and most of the times I listen to those podcasts while I'm biking or going around the town.
It's very cool. What is one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
So basically, at the moment, we are focused on conveying this message that we are normalizing the data. We are just not like giving access to the data, because just having access to the data, if it's not consistent, if it's not coherent, if it doesn't make sense, it's just going to cause more trouble. So we need to have access to the clean and normalized data. By normalized data, I mean unified, having it in a unified format. So having a data that is ready to consume, which is cleansed. This is one of the most kind of strategic points that we are kind of focused in our messaging, and also once we're presenting this service, we are focusing on our normalization engine.
Mm-hmm. If there would be no boundaries in technology, right? So you have a magic wand. What's the one thing you would fix for your role today?
Attribution tracking. So, and like attribution tracking, and at the same time, respecting the customer's privacy. This is really important for me. You know, most of the technologies that marketers are using are kind of invasive. So they are based on cookie tracking or like any types of IP tracking. I think if we marketers could move forward with a, let's say, zero party data, like let's say movement, and giving insights and being able to analyze our users based on the information that they've shared with us, not we track them, that would be the ideal point. I think respecting the customers and the prospects' privacy, and at the same time having a full picture of their interaction and their sort of like understanding and needs, that would be ideal. Well,
when you say attribution, because it's been coming up a lot on the podcast, how do you think about that? Like what is the pieces that are missing in your mind when it comes to attribution?
I think having one integrated tool or something that like gives access to the marketers to like analyze multiple resources. I mean, something like a tool that analyzes different interactions of a client, not just like track them. And then based on those analysis, let's say shows an channel or shows an touch point to a marketer saying, this user that you signed up, or like this customer that you closed today, they were initially heard about your service through an event. Or let's say they initially saw a social media post. Not on its again invasive way. I mean, I mean, the data are collected on multiple endpoints about user behavior, but I haven't seen a tool that analyzes them, not just like matches them. You know, most of the tools that we're seeing in the market, that they are kind of just matching data sources. They are saying, okay, this user made an interaction through LinkedIn with you, and then they came to our website, and then they did this, and then they click on CTA. But like, there is no, let's say, analyze behind of it. So anything that like goes one layer deeper with the help of data science, that like matches those data and try to understand with those trends with the machine learning, that would be something that would be really cool, that like resonates, that like kind of explains why this user did this flow, not just like proves that, okay, we have the records of this user being on this page and this page and this page.
Okay, I see. So it goes actually beyond just knowing they came through LinkedIn, Google, and the likes.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. Very cool. Very last question. If today, if we go back to your formal education, right? If we go back to your very early, let's say, undergrad education, I ran University of Science and Technology. What is the one advice you would give yourself for your journey?
I would learn more about different subjects and also different methods of analysis. I mean, just looking at the problem from one point of view that we are standing, let's say, just looking at a problem from mathematical point of view, it's not enough. I think being a successful marketer means that you should be able to criticize every theory that you're building around your user behavior. Like having data to prove it, that's really cool. That's really realistic. That's really mathematical. But in fact, being able to criticizing our current and also our self theories and understanding about the users and hypotheses, this is really important. I would invest more on methods of user behavior analysis or data analysis in general, not in its marketing, let's say, context, but I would spend time more on learning about just analysis methods.
Very cool. Nabi, it's been fantastic to deep dive into the world of Rails. It's been fantastic to deep dive into the world of analysis. And we talked a bit about attribution as well today. It was super interesting. I really want to appreciate that you took the time. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Rails, what's the one thing they should remember to take away from the interview?
So basically, Rails is building the largest financial data network in SMB ecosystem. So all those startups that you're seeing around, we have over 30 million startups in North America, 30 million small and medium-sized businesses in North America. We are building the largest financial network and largest financial data infrastructure for this ecosystem. So we are aiming for big results and also big places.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Platinum Presents.
Thank you so much for your time, Lucas. It was a great pleasure talking with you.